Hello my loyal companions, welcome back to episode 13 of RogueCast, your dedicated Rogue Company podcast and one-stop shop for all the latest news, exclusive interviews and clips of the week. As always, I'll be going over the latest changes and leaks coming out of Rogue Company, and then for any of you looking to get into casting, hosting or any sort of analysis work in the esports scene, I have a great interview with Banks, who is a desk host and was the desk host for Rogue Rivals, the biggest Rogue Company tournament so far. I am your host Radthar, let's get into the RogueCast. Okay, so starting with the news this week, there hasn't actually been a lot. In fact, there's only 3 things I really want to go over. Most of the things that have been happening this week have been trying to get the game back on track after the challenges that Ranked brought with that update. Now, things should be getting back on pace. Switch and PlayStation should now be working in full function, and there have been a few balancing and hotfixes to address some of the bugs and issues. This does include Dali now being able to link, which is great. She was very unplayable for a while with that ability and therefore her passive not working the way it should, so her being back on track is great for the competitive scene and just for the general player base like myself who like her. We also saw another nerf coming to fix her. They nerfed him last week and they're nerfing him again this week because they just think he's a bit too strong, and the community does agree. In this update, they reduced his tier, the sniper damage, from 70 down to 60. Now on paper this may not look like a lot, but when you think about it, 2 body shots at 60 does 120 damage, which means anyone with Headstrong having 125 health is not going to die to this instantly, which actually is a massive change, considering the sniper only has 2 rounds anyway. From my playtesting, I do think that this change actually does significantly weaken Fixer, and I think that's what he needed to bring him back into the fold a little bit more. Then the only other piece of news is the new limited time game mode arms race, which I've got some footage up here for you now. Essentially, it's strike out with 40 tickets in 1 round, and what you have to do is you have to run around, obviously get these kills, control the point, but for weapons you pick them up off the ground. Now this is interesting not only because it's a cool game mode and it's kind of fun, the guns do spawn in the same spot, it's the same gun in the same spots every time you load up into that map, which some people think should be a bit more randomized, but it is potentially a precursor or just a little testing development for some sort of battle royale. Now I do not think Rogue Company should go in and do a battle royale, but this is the sort of function and feature that a battle royale might have. So potentially there's a little clue, maybe it's a little bit of testing. I don't think so, and I do hope not, but we'll have to see how that develops on the line. With the news done, it's time to move on to the interview, and as I said at the top of the show, this will be great for those of you who want to look into casting or analysis or desk hosting from somebody who's been doing it for a while and has a lot of good advice to help you get started and move into that esports casting world. All his socials will be linked down below, so make sure you go check them out, but here I am introducing Banks. How would you define what you do? It's like, is it casting? Because like in my head, I was just like casting, hosting, online personality, commentating. Like, what would you say your title is?
I mean, essentially, like on the CV, if I was to write it, I don't know. I'd probably say presenter.
Okay, yeah, that's a good word.
Yeah, I'd probably say presenter, but I think every time I've ever done something within the esports realm, when it's game specific and not just like on stage hosting something, it's always been referred to as desk host. Okay. So the desk host is like you intro the show, and then you have like your like main chunk, which is obviously all the interview side of things, and then like getting snippets of information from the casters, and then you outro the show. So you're kind of like the guiding force like through it, which obviously is a totally different role. I mean, for instance, like desk hosting for certain games that I've been involved in and stuff, I didn't really know much about the game before being put in the hosting role. Because you don't really need to. It obviously helps if you do, because if you can chime in with your own like opinion on what's just happened, then great, because it adds value. But if you don't, it also doesn't matter if you don't know it, if you're good enough at what you do. Kind of thing.
you can like waffle it, like kind of in it. Like you just like, hey, like you can ask questions that lead others, like the other casters and who are there, to be like
leading questions is like is a great way of putting it. I think that when we're doing like shows and when we're in the middle of it, like we're in the the meat of the show, so like you have the casters, everyone's like absolutely smashing their way through the tournament or through the games or the wars or whatever we're like witnessing. When they cut to me post-war to go, that was incredible, like we're going to cut to this video in a minute, but then afterwards we're going to come back to the casters and see what they thought of what we just witnessed. I'm actually, the way I see it, is I'm providing the casters with a bit of a breather, because they've just been going off like, oh my God, he's going left, he's going right, this is capturing the base. And I'm their buffer where they get to chill for 2 seconds, have a glass of water or whatever they need. And so I'm like the time filler. And it sounds like I'm putting down the job, but that is it's a vital job within the casting unit of the show.
I feel that. You definitely, when we were doing Rogue Rivals, that was exactly how that felt. It's like me and Fabi there, we were talking. Little tech issue, we were talking a lot. And then we got to have that like 2-minute break, 3-minute break, and just like go, okay, we're good.
Yeah, we're good now. We're good. Mate, that 15-minute buffer, trust me, that's the longest you're ever going to have to do it. That was just like, they're finding their feet, the tech side of things and the production side of things. There was one guy, Octane smashed it. Like there was like 2 technical issues. And I think that 15-minute buffer where you and Fry Guy needed to keep talking wasn't even his fault. It was an admin issue sorting out the starting
itself,
point.
Yeah, I think the one that really got me, the one that tickled me in the Rogue Rivals was when Fry Guy's message popped up. I don't know if you call that. I can't remember exactly what it said, but it was hilarious.
Selfie haul, wasn't it?
Yes, that was it. It was so good.
That was a tech issue. However, that was just, I mean, dude, when working on a game that's been well established for X amount of years, they have an entire production team of 15 people working on the same broadcast. You got one guy on social, one guy on screen swapping, you got one guy on audio. And dude, Octane did the whole thing by himself. That's super impressive. I was really impressed. I not gonna lie, obviously without knowing him and without knowing everyone else involved, I did think that there were going to be a lot of potential issues, and there were so minimal amount of issues. It was great.
It was good. I was surprised, given it was it's grassroots. It's very new how well how that all went. And like I mean I know Octane. I know he likes his production. He puts a lot of effort into his production and stuff. But the fact he was able to do it solo was really good. So how did you get into casting and sort of this hosting, commentating, producing,
everything?
All this sort of stuff, everything. How do you become jack of all trades in the world of speaking?
Funnily enough, it actually is a jack of all trades when it comes to me, because I started working in the entertainment industry when I was 21, when I left uni. I was a dancer.
Oh, nice.
So I danced I toured with Katy Perry, Little Mix,
nice.
Elton John.
Wow.
Dropped them names.
You did.
I danced on X Factor and stuff. Like, it was really cool. So cool. And then when I got to 26, I was filming a music video, and I trapped a nerve in my spine.
Oh, no.
Shooting a music video. So next day couldn't sit up, and essentially that period of time they were like, you can carry on dancing, but you run the risk of doing it again. Like, it's one of those things with your back, once something goes wrong, it can happen again. Like, it just as easily, like, you can be in the gym and do something slightly off and then it'll just go. So they were like, you're kind of having to make a decision now. Like, are you going to continue or are you going to stop? So I continued for a period of time, during which I set up another career path in presenting. Didn't know that the esports side of things was picking up at the time. So this is nearly 5 years ago. Wow. And obviously the esports world was big. I mean, we already had, a lot going on with League of Legends, with Call of Duty, CSGO, all those kinds of first-person shooters and MMOs and stuff. We had a lot going on, but not that I was really aware of at the time. So I started contacting radio stations, just being like, I made a fake radio reel of me just doing random links. Nice. Like, that was Taylor Swift, and next up we've got I made a random radio reel just using a mic, and chopped it all together and put some music behind it. And eventually, after messaging 1,000 radio stations, I got one reply saying, okay, cool, come in for a trial. Unpaid, of course.
Internship.
Internship. Did that whole thing for a couple of years, and just eventually progressed. Started applying for things in TV, in live shows. I did a lot of shadowing. I went. I found a contact through LinkedIn in Good Morning Britain, which is ITV morning show, and asked if I could come in and just shadow the presenters, to see what they do day-to-day basis, take any tips and things like that. Just grinding. It's a grind. You're not really going to get anything out of it, because the ins and outs of presenting. Obviously, just being on set and seeing how things are done is vital. But you're just chipping away. And then I found a contact, right, at IMG. IMG is one of the biggest sports agencies in the world. And in my mind, I'm thinking, these guys definitely have a foot in the door somewhere with esports, somewhere. because gaming and dancing are like my two passions. So I'm like, I'm going to do both.
Yeah.
So dancing was kind of over, went into like this, right, how am I going to find my way into the gaming industry? Badgered this guy IMG for ages going, can you just send me someone's email that works in esports, ramming it down his throat, sending him videos. I'd make another video, send him another video of me just taking people's gaming content and casting over it.
Yeah.
And he's going left and he's making his way towards the hill. And eventually he messaged back going, cool, we have one guy who works in the esports industry. This is his name. Cool. He was like, I met him, spieled to him for ages, and he was like, look, we look after the top of the top. Like you've gone from like trying to race a go-kart to trying to be Lewis Hamilton. Like, what are you doing? And I was like, well, you're the only contact that I found, man. So and he was like, okay. I'm gonna put you in touch with two people. One of which didn't message me back, and the other of which said, I'm about to leave my agency. And I was like,
this really is a grind.
I know, yeah. And then he goes, but I might take you on anyway, because I obviously have X amount of contacts and stuff. Eventually, he is my current agent. Thank God. He's the one that eventually was like, cool, actually, I'll take you under my wing. And he kind of dabbles in a bit of everything. He actually helped set up Gfinity. Do you know Gfinity in Fulham Broadway? Gfinity is an esports arena in Fulham in London. And they have like all the FIFA championships there. They've had COD champs there, things like that. So they do good stuff. So he's my agent. And then funnily enough, 2 months into him signing me and being like, cool, let's start working together. The guy that I originally messaged, who didn't message me back, goes, oh, I've just had something pass my desk. It's for Clash of Clans. Are you interested? And I was like, yeah, I'm interested, but I've just signed with someone else. So what do I do now? So I'm put in this awful situation at the beginning. And we worked it out. I just said, look, you're going to have to go through these channels. And it was fine. Everything was sorted out. And then, Clash was like, one of the biggest, if not the biggest mobile esport. And so it's huge. Straight away it was like, do I watch YouTube videos of the top level Clash of Clans and try and learn that way? Or do I pick up the game and play it solidly until I go to my first gig for them so that I know the ins and outs of the game? I attempted option number 2 and played the game for as long as I could, as much as I could, not realizing that leveling up in Clash of Clans actually takes like 5 years.
It's a rough one, I've heard.
So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna, the week before, drilled watching videos, and then here we are, man. Clash of Clans kind of brought me into the esports world, and it's awesome.
So how long ago was Clash of Clans for you then?
I started working for Clash last December, so coming up to a year.
Wow.
So I would say it was a 2.5 year grind to get a proper esports contract. Now, obviously, leading up to that, you can get like little tidbits. Like I worked at Call of Duty doing some backstage stuff, and I managed to get myself a press pass, so I would like interview random players as you pass them. Can I grab you for an interview quickly? And then, what magazine is it for? Oh, it's for, Mr. Banks Limited.
Brilliant.
So you really do. You know how you like listen to people being interviewed and they're like, oh, you just like either fake it till you make it or you grind as long as you can and eventually it will happen. It kind of is true. You've got to annoy people until they're like, okay, we'll have an interview.
You got to just put your foot in the door however you can. Just make people know your name, good or bad. As long as the name is said, then maybe they'll forget if it's bad. They'll be like, oh yeah, Banks, where have I heard of that? That's he must be someone I know.
Being in like the entertainment industry before, actually, I thought it would help. It actually hindered people going, oh, this guy who's done like music or he's done this and that, we don't want him crossing over into like their gaming industry closes itself off quite a bit. We have our talent, and they don't really go and do that stuff. They stick within this tight-knit group. So that was actually a weird hurdle that I didn't think would be a thing. And it actually is. Yeah, they're kind of like, oh, you do music and stuff. Yeah, you're not really for us.
That's cool. How did that then sort of lead into Rogue Rivals then? Where did you hear that? Was it something your agent came up with, or was it something you saw?
Actually, it was a mixed bag, actually. Yeah, I think that the Twitter sphere was like bubbling with stuff going on with Rogue Rivals, and Rogue Company is a game that my agent plays quite a lot, and he was talking to me about it loads and was like, this game is sick, you need to get it. Doc's got his own map, like this is insane. And I was like, cool. and obviously we're leading up to Black Ops Cold War coming out at this point.
Yes,
and COD is like the game that I play with my mates as like my escape kind of.
Yeah.
We just play Call of Duty. I used to stream it a bit, but now I mainly stream Clash.
Yeah.
And yeah, he was like, I feel like they're going to start bringing out tournaments and stuff, so I'm going to keep my ear to the ground and I'll let you know. And then, yeah, Rogue Rivals happened. And he messaged them just going, hey, what's the situation? Like, are you guys, like, you know, are there sponsors? Are you doing this and that? He wanted a full rundown, you know, as an agent kind of does. They wanted to know like the ins and outs. And I just said, look, dude, I'm just happy to do it because I'd love to get my hands on or like get my hands in to multiple like titles, multiple games. Like the more the merrier. Like I'm not closed off to any like. I mean, Rogue Rivals and Rogue Company essentially has just started, so we're not expecting it to be ESL. So, do you know what I mean? ESL size yet.
Exactly.
I feel we feel like it can get there.
100%.
And the game itself like is being managed and is being, you know, updated regularly, which is obviously a huge thing right now. I mean, I think Fortnite just shot everyone in the legs, didn't they? By upgrading the game so often, so frequently with good updates. Every other game I feel kind of feels like they have to follow suit.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that. There were a few games that came out around Rogue Company at the time who kind of changed things. I know obviously Fortnite came up way before and they sort of set up that constant update. But Rogue Company, in terms of the development team, I felt shaped a lot because the dev team are so good with the community in terms of talking to them all the time and always giving like little like updates and teasers and stuff. And not a lot of games do that. And I think they've definitely like set a bar there themselves with Rogue Company. And you're right, I think when you're saying it's so early days, they're just sort of getting your foot in the door, seeing where it's going. I think it's an incredibly easy, not it's easy, but good to present game, if that makes sense. Like casting over it or, you know, hosting it or whatever it is quite a nice job. It's a fun game to watch, and I think an audience, that's really important for them to know, for sure. And yeah, so how did that sort of, I mean, do you play Rogue Company a lot? Is it a game that
I played it quite a bit actually, leading up to when the fixer like was dropped. And then when the fixer dropped, we did Rogue Rivals literally like a day later or 2 days later.
It was like 2 days later or something.
And since Rogue Rivals, I've literally like we've had the Clash of Clans World Finals like really soon. They're actually like this Sunday we start rehearsal.
Nice.
So like we spoke about before, like desk hosting stuff. You are like the guy, you set the speed or the tone of the show and things like that. And with Clash, there's so many elements to the streams, and they want to improve, which is great. Every single time we do a live show, they want to improve. They add elements and things like that. As a desk host, you have to know which bit is next coming up and what segment we're going into, which graphic we're going into, which like, you know, marketing piece we're going into. The casters switch around, then we're going to this expert, then this. The desk host's job actually, even though you probably don't speak as much on camera, your job actually I think requires the most preparation. Because I'm kind of guiding you guys through the matches. I'm going, cool, so this is what's happening. We're about to go in with Radthar and Fry Guy to do this. And then afterwards, we're going to go here and then here. And then I have to have that all pre-prepped and planned in my head and in front of me as well. So, yeah, I think I've basically been focusing on the Clash stuff almost immediately after Rogue Rivals. I haven't managed to play. That's your answer is no, I have not been playing it. And I'm gutted because I actually do really enjoy it. Actually, my mates have told me to download it on PlayStation as well because they want to play. After watching us, they were like, "This game is sick. We want to play." So that's good.
Nice, that's good. I like that. The next question was actually sort of going on to that because when we were going through like the rehearsals and the runner show like together before Rogue Rivals, you were asking a lot of questions. I could tell you were going in very, very prepared for it, which is what you were just saying. And one thing I didn't realize that would be so weird to get used to, given it was my first sort of casting gig, was having production in your ear as you're trying to commentate or just trying to like not like drown them out but take in what they're saying but not let it interrupt your flow is weird. How long did it take for you to get used to that? Because I definitely felt like I got tripped up a few times where I'm like, what's Octane saying? Hello, Octane? Yes.
Yeah, because you're in the middle of saying something. And one thing, okay, so there is a balance, right? There's a balance, but there's also a level of understanding that goes into it. Okay, so there's multiple things. So like, firstly, when it comes to someone being in your ear, it's their responsibility to pick the right time to tell you something.
Yeah.
Now, the difficulty we had with production was that he couldn't selectively pick one person to talk in their ear. So whenever he spoke, all of us heard it. So no matter when he spoke, someone was going to be in the middle of saying something.
Yes.
So he just had to pick the right time. And that's very hard. So he had a hard job himself. Obviously, when you're doing a production with a larger production company, everyone has their own individual, so like everyone has their own device.
Yeah.
So they lock on to me. And then when I'm not talking and a caster is replying to me or I'm interviewing, they can say 3 minutes, or they can go going to this graphic next. And then so you hear it, you're listening, but you're also listening to what they're saying, but it's not as much of a gobbledygook in your head. So that was a hard one. So actually, you've probably experienced the worst of it. It won't get worse than that. And that's not anything on Octane. That's literally that was the production. That was that's how we had to deal with it. We had to do it through Discord, and that's just the way that it is. So he didn't have multiple channels to use. So he did it very well. But also being not as experienced in that field, it's such a head screwer, isn't it? Because you're trying to talk about Icarus, this map is amazing, and he's going, we're going to cut to this next, and you're like, what? So the second point of it is don't be afraid to take pauses. So they teach you on radio presenting. You have to keep the flow, because there's no visual cue for anyone that you're just taking a breath before you say something. On the radio, they go, is my radio broken? Like, what happens to the audio? Visually, if you're in front of a camera and someone can see you, you can take a breath and just engage with the camera. You can just chill and then go, so this is what's coming up next. And that doesn't actually matter as much. People think it feels like you've sat still for 10 seconds and not said anything. It's only been a second.
I noticed that when I watched the rerun, actually. Like, the few moments that I felt myself pausing or whatever, for whatever reason, whether it be just like, we're in that initial production and that 15 minutes and things started to slow down and we're trying to pick it up, but I was like, oh no, we stopped talking for like 5 minutes and it's been like,
this must look awful, and it's literally a couple of seconds, and that's natural. Like, if you're having a conversation with someone, let's say, you do naturally pause. You naturally just go, think about your answer, and then you go. So Fry Guy could have said something like, so what do you think about the new shotgun or something? If he's saying something in your ear because he notices, because let's say Octane wants to say something to you, he notices Fry Guy is speaking, so he's saying something and you were about to start talking, you could go, well, you know what? And during that, you'd have taken in what he said in your ear. Obviously, that's like a good situation. There are some situations where they have to tell you something while you're speaking. I've had moments where I've been halfway through coming out of a segment, and then as I'm announcing the winner, I've been told in my ear that team's been disqualified. And I've been like, so what an incredible matchup. That was so good. I couldn't believe they won by that. They have just been disqualified. So let me just get final confirmation about the reasons why. And that's just awful. But it happens, man.
I mean, because that would be a whole situation. Especially if during Rogue was like, this team, they were cheating. Okay, VOD review, nice. Big yikes on that one.
And then again, like, there are some words that you like shouldn't. There's no like taboo words other than swearing, but it's like you can't. Should never really use the term cheating until it's fully confirmed. Because live, they'll be like, they've been disqualified, we'll get back to you. So you've just got to be like, a rule was broken, there's been a rule infraction, there's been a complication. Because then if you say cheat, the chat and the Twitter world will explode. And then if you then find out they weren't cheating, too late, it's already been said.
It looks bad on
so,
you. Can't use one hack.
Or it looks bad on you.
Oh dear.
So there's just like things that you pick up as you go along, man. Like, it's not. There are people that are so like experienced in the esports world, and I quite often watch their shows that they do, or watch the desk hosting that they do, and take notes, man. Like, I do. Like, Yeah.
Any particular favorites? Any particular game that strikes you as one you watch often for like the casting particularly, or the show?
So what a game that I would want to get involved in?
Or a game you'd want to get involved in, but also like I guess like role models or like people you look
Oh
up to in
yeah,
the world.
there are some. Oh my god, there are some amazing ones. So On Set is a caster. His name's Mark. He casts FIFA, Call of Duty. So he's a caster and a desk host.
Okay.
So he does both, and he's so good at it. So I quite often just DM him on Instagram saying, having a bit of trouble with this. Like any thoughts or like anything, what would you do in this situation? Because he's been doing it for years, man. And like it's always I think that my brother is an agent, but he works in the golf industry. But I quite often call my brother for advice because his wife is a TV presenter. And my brother was like, it's actually really humbling for people for you to contact them after you've worked with them or after you've seen a show of theirs, just to say like, really enjoyed doing this, or I think this is great and I've had such a great time. Do you have, maybe not even do you have any notes, but like I'm in this situation. I'd really love some advice and something like that, because it's humbling for them to know that you're seeking advice from them and you're trying to get better. Like if there are obviously casters or presenters out there that feel like they don't need any additional like feedback or I've been doing this for so long, it doesn't matter. You can always improve. You can always improve. Exactly. So yeah, I'd say On Set, get Frank's games. So Frankie is amazing. She does like CSGO. I mean, she does everything actually. Like if you look, I think she's actually up for Esports Presenter of the Year in the Esports Awards, which is this Saturday. Yeah, that's awesome. Which is huge, and she's great. And so everything that she does as well, she does a lot of PC games and consoles. So she's great. So I think those two are the ones that I keep my ear to the ground to the most, because whenever I've spoken with other production companies, because listen to the production companies, that's who you listen to. Because if they say, we've worked with this person and they're amazing, then you know that it's not just how good they are on camera, it's how nice they are off camera.
Yes, I feel
because the production company like them.
Yeah, I think that's probably quite an important thing, particularly when it's like comes to presenting and things, because you need to be amicable with the people that are doing it. It's like the whole director versus like actor thing, where great actor, great director, they do not gel. And just you can feel it, you know. And I thought that's probably the same.
I think being a nice person's half the battle. If someone like half of getting rebooked for a job or re-signed in a contract is, do they want to work with you? Like you could be amazing at your job, but if they don't want to work with you, they won't. There's plenty to choose from, and it's easy to make tough decisions when the companies are of this scale. The esports industry is growing so exponentially, it's unbelievable. So dude, like you don't think that company can afford Dermot O'Leary? Like, dude, they'll get him in a heartbeat. So
that'd be great. I'd love to see him present.
But I mean, they can. So it's and the fact that the gaming companies like to keep it grassroots, like to go for gamers themselves. They like to hire people that love their game. Is a huge perk for us, because it gives us opportunities. Because believe it or not, they're making 10 times the amount of money that ITV are making, all these other companies. So we're very fortunate, man. And like I got to say, the reason why I reached out to you after the show,
thank you, by the way,
was just how, no worries, man, like how naturally you took to it. You had to carry for an extremely uncomfortable amount of time, which is a really, really tough gig. Because if you pay attention to these kinds of things, I don't normally, but we had time. So I was looking at chat and the chat were going, wow, this is going on forever. And then once you passed a peak, you passed like 8 minutes. So the whole time was like, let's say 15 minutes. You passed 8. From 8 minutes onwards, the chat started going, Radthar and Fry Guy are doing a really good job right now. Something's clearly up, and they're doing a really good job. So I wanted to reach out just to be like, dude, that was your first casting gig, and you guys did so well. You have to try at least and keep pursuing it. Even if it is just with Rogue. Dude, if Rogue is your thing and you want to just do Rogue, focus on that, because other stuff will come. If you just focus on doing a great job on that, and that's the game you love, mate, like 100% stick with it, because the game's not going anywhere, man. Have there been any more updates since I haven't been playing?
Well, okay, so the fixer update kind of broke everything.
No.
So ironic that the fixer broke everything. But So they've kind of been just fixing like literally fixing it, trying to like get back on top. There was a lot of unhappiness from the community about ranked. The rank system isn't great. It's just a grind.
Were they doing skill-based matchmaking?
No, there is none. That's the problem. There's like no matchmaking, so it's like they're prioritizing queue times at like 3 minutes 30. It's fair game, whether you're bronze or the max rank, whether you're solo or whether you're in a team. 3 minute 30 hits. Have fun. Like, dude. So it's a little bit yikes. But so yeah, they're just kind of get on top of those things.
But like you said earlier, they are almost like a community-led game. They keep their ear to the ground. They tweet and they interact with their community to ask, like, what do you guys want? We'll make it work. So when you think about, let's just say, like Activision with COD, like they release something that they've been working on for 6 months. As an update into Warzone, let's call it. Whereas with Rogue, if they're contacting the community and saying, what do you guys want to see next? From the time of receiving X amount of votes on whatever, or enough of the community have said, we want this, that's their time frame. Whereas you have bigger companies have been making these updates for months in advance. They're doing it almost on the fly. So we have to expect like hiccups along the road or like smaller updates to try and tweak as we go along. Scott Gandhi and that lot, they're doing, that's such a great like element of doing it like guiding the game along with how the community wants the game to go. It's awesome. Like you've mentioned that it's amazing how they do that, but I think that's like revolutionary. And bloody difficult.
Yes, and I think that is definitely true. And I know a lot of people aren't happy with that style sometimes because the game can come out a little bit iffy. Like Switch for a period, Switch and PlayStation, I think it might even still be like unplayable. Like you can't like stay connected to a game, which is rough. But they are fixing it. I actually believe what the issue was a new version of the Unreal Engine came out or something. And they updated for like 4.25, but it's on 4.24 or something. So it's like they hadn't quite hit yet or something, and so it just everything went nope. We're not having this.
Computer says no.
Yeah, basically computer says no. So I think that's where a lot of their issues came from. But do you have sort of any final advice for myself as well? But for anyone looking to get into casting, commentating, presenting, desk hosting, anything in the sort of esports presenting world, more than what you sort of just said, any sort of
I'd say like perseverance is key. So I think that one of the things that I did, like appeal to your strengths. So if you want to be a caster, and let's just say, look, I just want to cast this is what I love, this game in particular, or like multiple games, record gameplay of yourself. So just record your own gameplay. And I think that that's quite accessible to do now. I think a long time ago, that wasn't very accessible. But now I think it's a lot easier to just record gameplay, get it onto your laptop, edit your gameplay, cut it into a chunk, and just record yourself casting over the gameplay until you're happy with it. Once you're happy with it, that's a video that you can send to anyone that you got. Like, dude, scroll through LinkedIn, scroll through Twitter, scroll through everywhere to find people's emails. Get in their email inbox and just say, hey, I'm a caster. This is like a mini show reel. I wouldn't make it any more than 2 minutes long. An ideal show reel is between 1 and 2 minutes long. And in that 1 and 2 minutes, you should have at least about 5 clips that are different, either a different game or from a different part of the same game, and cast over it. Same if you're desk hosting. If you're desk hosting, include visuals of yourself talking, and like talk to camera. Don't sway. Anchor yourself. Talk to camera.
This is what I need to learn.
Engage.
I'm a chair rotator.
The simple elements of being a host is keeping still, engaging with camera, and controlling the emotion. So casters will come out of, let's say you're down to the 6-6, you're down to the last map. That ending moment is going to be up here. So you need 100%. To come in up here and bring it down to here. So if Radthar's at the back end of a casting going, and he's going to get snipes him off the end, banks, that's insane. I have to go, that was insane, and oh my god, and no. That's your job. Your job as a caster is, as a desk host, is to manage that. But yeah, final advice is persevere. Like, if you're sending out videos, you're not getting a response. You do get a response, but then you don't hear for a while. Make another video, send it out again. Hey, it shows that you have the intuition, you have the grind, and you have the perseverance to keep doing what you're doing. Because if they see your email and they dismiss it and they go, cool, but we don't have anything right for him right now, something might come up in the future. And then ping, they're like, oh, that guy, he's been emailing me. And you just never know. Like, it's one of those things you won't know until you try. And it maybe, I mean, it was, dude, if you're talking about it being demoralizing, I had to do it for 2.5 years before I even got one bite. So it persevere, keep making the content. And now we have this ability to stream. Like, streaming so, like, it's so crucial for if you want to be a caster or a desk host or a, you know, or whatever. If you're streaming, you can just rip that content and chunk that up, and that's even easier. So you're making life easier for yourself.
Especially because it's live as well, so that's kind of a whole key element. Like, it's one thing to record over, so you can then go, oh, I didn't do that very well, and re-record it. But when you're doing it live and there's people watching or whatever it is, that's always a great thing to get footage from, and that's
dude. 100%. And I think that you have the chops, people have seen it, and you just need to keep creating that content that you love. And like, no matter what people tell you, when you do like a small show, even if you're doing like a smaller show that doesn't have a huge amount of production, people are watching. The game devs, the game production guys, the game owners, and they're watching it. Don't believe they are watching it. Trust me. So never think that what you're doing isn't being watched by someone of value to you. So even if it's a couple of people, one of those people might be a guy from High Res. Just scrolling through Twitch, just going, cool, who's streaming Rogue Company right now? Oh, I'll click on this guy. He's only got 4 viewers, but let's just sit. And you just never know, man. So just keep trucking. Like, don't
I love that. Cool. So it's going to take us to the end of the podcast, but what I do like to do right at the end is just to let you plug anything where people can find you, whether it be Twitter, your live stream, whether it be your next event. Where would you like people to come and find you?
Well, Clash of Clans World Finals is from the 27th to the 29th of November, and that'll be streaming live on Twitch on the official Clash of Clans Twitch page, and it'll be on YouTube. And that's like work-wise, that's the next thing. And my Twitch is Barney Banks.
There you go.
And Twitter is I am Mr. Banks, spelt I am Mr. BANX.
There you go. Awesome. All those links will be down in the description as well, so anyone wants to go check them out, go check them out. A massive thank you to Banks. He's so professional, he knows so much about this world, and he's got some really great advice for anyone like myself looking to get into the casting world. Now though, it's time to move on to the clip of the week, and this one comes from the Ninja Wolf on Twitter and Twitch. Here we see Ninja Wolf trying to control the midpoint on Vice and Striker. Gets down the Dahlia. Now he's getting pushed by the Lancer. Molotov goes out. He's backing away from the fire. Switch to his pistol. Takes down that Lancer. Nice can kill with the pistol there. Now looking to control the point with his team. Just trying to find out where the enemy positions might be. He's going to move over to the wall hop. Maybe he sees somebody there. Teammate goes over to check it. Grenade comes in. Maybe he's going to counter with a grenade of his own. Cooks it. Aiming. Throws it. Can he get one? Gets one. Gets two. Gets three for the 3-piece grenade. A fantastic grenade. Showing us the power of that utility. Okay then guys, that takes us to the end of RogueCast, and if you did enjoy and want to see more weekly podcasts, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you want to see more from me though, I post daily educational Rogue Company content here on this channel, going over map guides, character guides, ranked gameplay, and so much more that you don't want to miss out on, so make sure you hit the subscribe button for that as well. All the links you need are down in the description below guys, but for now I hope you have a fantastic day, and remember, be loyal, be brave, be relentless, and I'll catch you in the next video.